Hello, and a big welcome to the Move, Rest, Live podcast. I'm your co-host, Menna Olvera, and with me is Carlos Leon. Together, we are the proud co-founders of the O Leon House. We're thrilled to be on this journey with you as we learn from our guests about all things fitness, wellness, and lifestyle, furthering our goals of movement and rest in our lives to empower us to truly live. Let's get going. Welcome to the Move, Rest, Live podcast. And I can't believe January is almost over.
Yeah, we might.
It's over. Today's the 1st.
Yeah, today's February 1st.
Actually.
Spring is right around the corner. Very excited. I gotta be honest, the gray days have kind of been affecting me. I think it's everyone, not only you.
Yeah?
Don't take it so personally.
You gotta let that go. You can't keep bringing it into my face.
Well, until you learn.
Well, I'm learning.
No, seriously, everyone's going through it. Every client that came in this morning was like, oh, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the weather. And I was like, absolutely it's the weather.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I wonder if we should, because we have the hue light bulbs. I wonder if we should change the color of them to represent more of the sunlight to bring a different sensation.
Great idea. I agree.
Because I was just thinking,
change your environment.
What do you do when? Does this get you down? Are you feeling the grays?
I feel a little grayish, but I just work out. I do mad shit. No, I'm teasing. I
work out.
I do. I just remember that it's only temporary. It's only temporary. Mm-hmm. The sun's gonna come out again for sure. And we have to go through it. And imagine the English people, what they have to go through. And when I'm in Denmark, it's pretty rainy and damp when I'm there.
Yeah.
But again, the sun is coming one day, Groundhog Day was here. What happened with that?
I don't know.
You.
But you know what? I also feel like it's also a time to hibernate. Like go in, check in with yourself.
Right.
So that come spring, you're not like, oh shit, now I got to catch up and work out and do this. Get it, keep it consistent. Maybe you don't go as hard right now, but keep your wellness going. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just I'm asking you a question.
Because for people who are just starting, if they go hard to start, they're going to burn out before. They're going to be like candle in the wind.
But it's already February 1st. We talked about this. No, I'm not. We talked about it in the first part. Remember we said, did we talk about this, you and I?
I think so.
How do you get people to stop making the goals like crazy in the beginning? Begin slowly, January 1st, right? That's most people is when they want to jumpstart. You go slow and then you progress. And then when you think that you're plateau, that means you go harder, right? That's the way it works.
Yeah.
There was a thing I saw recently about, and it was the guy was 99 years old, and he worked out every day of his life. He goes, every time you work out, you're adding 3 hours into your life.
So I'm going to counteract that with a cousin of mine that said, Menna, I don't want to. I'm not interested in longevity. I'm interested in just being healthy now, setting my family up to succeed. She's like, I know I have bad health. I'm doing the best I can. And it's interesting because I'm kind of curious to be like, well, why would you say that? So there's people out there that really have a different perspective, right?
I mean, it's one person.
Yeah.
I don't know I think if you ask the most majority of people, if you want to live a healthier life, if you can live longer, would you do this? And they'll say yes.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Aging is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think what people struggle with is being uncomfortable. Me too. Even just outside. New York City is always uncomfortable. When we lived here, you have to walk up 3 flights of stairs. You have to come down 3. Whatever goes up has to come down. Groceries, garbage. When I had Sagan, right? Going upstairs, it's so hard, but life is hard. So then you have to come back to when you're uncomfortable, what is your mindset? And like you said, it's not forever. It's just for right now. It's going to end. It's cyclical. This uncomfortable gray area. But it's also very depressing for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm not saying it doesn't affect me, but I just deal with it differently than other people's because I know there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you have to remember that. It's not going to be raining every day. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be it shouldn't be so hard for you every day. And, but if it is, that's something to work on. You know what I mean? I'm not here to...
Do you think it's a mind shift, or do you think it's just like a perspective on life?
I think it's a mind shift, reevaluating, like you said, go into yourself and figuring things out. You reevaluate your life. What's working, what doesn't. If you've been working out with the same routine every time, you need to change it if it's not showing you results. Mm-hmm. If it's just making you feel good mentally, then we're talking a different thing. If that makes you feel good, that's great. It's still effective, right? Because you're still in the gym doing even though it's the same routine every day, it's still very effective.
Right.
You're doing better than most people are.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you don't see any results in your life, in the gym, in general, it's because there has to be change. Mm-hmm. Because it's not working out. And it hurts and it's uncomfortable to feel change. Because I know this for many reasons. It's I have the same issues we're talking about is because change is uncomfortable because we have to get used to something else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza says most people change because something tragic happens in their life. Like something dramatic happens and then they're like, I gotta change my life. Mm. And his message is, well, why not wake up and change your life in a joyful state of consciousness? And so you think 80% of the same thoughts every day. So then the question becomes what are you rehearsing on a daily basis? What are the stories you're telling yourself that aren't even really there? So last week was our first recording in front of a live audience. Yeah.
That was great, I thought.
I loved it.
It was a small, the weather was bad, which one, and everyone was tired. And the energy was, here's a situation that you have to, like, you rehearse something, and then all of a sudden you can't do it, and then you have to adapt, which is what you did.
We did.
Well, we did. But what I'm saying, I didn't teach the class, thank God. No, I'm joking. I love teaching class.
But for those of you that don't know, like Carlos and I had this amazing sequence that we were going to teach last week at our live event.
We actually been working on the sequence for a bit.
We've been rehearsing it. We've been practicing it.
And it's really hard.
And we were so ready. And then everyone walked in and they were tired. It was Friday. They were tired. They they just wanted to chill. So we had to pivot. To pivot. Like pivoting, you know what happens too is you have to read the room and not be so rigid. And I know that I have a issue with being rigid sometimes. And I don't know if that's my personality or if that's part of being a Leo. Yeah. But I know sometimes I can be rigid and there's other times I'm not. But in those situations, I think that we worked really well together in reading the room through the conversations we had with greeting people as they walked in the door. Because we got to gauge like, oh, no, there's no way that person's going to be able to do what we sequenced.
Yeah, I think it's also, there's also making people feel humble. I mean, we're humble. So to be humble and like look at people and greet them and bring them in, I think it's people let go. Yeah. Right? If we fall into their trap of coming in guarded, we're in trouble. Especially in this business, as you know, because you're hands-on, I'm hands-on. So if you're a guarded person, as a practitioner, we're in trouble. You're in trouble. Yeah. So I think this is first nature for us to bring people in, greet them, bring them love. I think that's super important in our business, right? And I think that we do that well. And again, we go back to adapting the situation. Like we worked on this sequence kind of like 2 days on it. Not 2 days like a lot, but like 2 days. Yeah. Because we already had it in our psyche, in our Rolodex. Yeah. Our mental Rolodex.
Right. Well, I've been teaching it all week, so.
Exactly. So, but these classes are special because there's a collaboration of 20-something years of yoga. And, I've done some yoga and...
You introduced me to yoga.
Correct. So
somewhere in the metasphere, there's a picture of you in a yoga pose, and you were so flexible. And I remember you had really long hair, I think, right?
I think Dylan took that picture.
Don't you have it somewhere? It's a good photo. We should try and find it. Anyway.
But I did get to Ashtanga level 2, which was...
Well, that's what M was into, right? Ashtanga?
Yeah. So I was into that too, and then I hurt my back and I stopped doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not going to say anything because, I mean, Ashtanga is really. I've never was into Ashtanga, so I can't speak fully from experience. But from my observation, a lot of people who do Ashtanga get injured, and then I say to myself, okay, look at BKS Iyengar, who used blocks and used props and. Maybe his sequences were not as intense, but he was doing headstands and still practicing well into his 90s.
Right. Well, yeah, it's a matter of, it's a preference.
It's a preference, right?
Yeah. It's like CrossFit for me and functional training, high intensity. I mean, they're still working out. It's in the same
one's
family.
not better than the other.
One's
it's just
better.
different.
It's different. Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think my body type was made for Ashtanga.
Ashtanga, you know who was in the classes when I was doing it back? This was in 98. And I forgot to get named the guy. It was on Broadway on Houston around there. If you're from New York, you know.
Was it from Shiva Mukti?
No, I forget his name. It's a guy. It might have been Michael something. I'm not quite sure. Steven. I'm not quite sure. In any case, William Dafoe was there. Man, that guy was incredible. Yogi, and I'm pretty sure he's still practicing because he's one of those guys that you can tell his body's like
clean,
yogied out, yeah. And he still is. I don't know him personally, but I was really impressed by his practice.
Yeah,
you know.
I think yogis. I mean, just from my experience, we have to be very careful as we age because your body's not going to be able to do the same poses. But if you understand the essence of the pose, you can still do a part of it.
A modified, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some yogis when I was in India. My travels to India.
For your 40th birthday.
40th birthday was great. I met some yogis. I met sadhus. Sadhus they give up their lively possession and they dedicate their life to yoga. And I forget the name of the god. I should remember this. Their god, to all the yogi gods.
There's a few of them.
There's a few of them, right?
Yeah.
So one of them. In any case,
Krishna.
I studied with them for a while, and I was just like, wow, these guys are incredible. And one of them guys, I mean, they were in their 70s and easily doing better stuff than I was doing. They were holding that push-up, that
the
yoga
chaturanga
for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Shaking. And I was just like, okay. And I stayed 2 days with them there. 3 days.
Wow.
I was done. Seriously, I was done. And they smoke a lot of ganja, like weed, and the weed is not good. I swear, I think I was smoking horse shit.
Maybe that's what they gave you.
Motherfuckers' eyes were red, all of them. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so yoga is an amazing practice.
It is. It's a practice. It's something that's a lifelong. As a student of yoga is one thing. I think even yogis should be studying. Like, I know you do. But I'm saying, like, if you're a yoga person or a teacher, you should be doing yoga. Like, every day.
Yeah.
Like, that should be...
it's a practice.
It's a practice. It's like meditation. It's a practice. It's a lifelong practice. Working out for me is my practice. Meditation is a practice. Yeah. So, like, people that don't think working out is just like, let's lift weights and get a nice body. It's beyond that.
Yeah.
And try to work out without music.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Right, you have to find your intrinsic motivation.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course. You have to find your motivation, especially if you work out alone. No
do you
music.
go into the zone? Or when you do that?
Yeah. No, I don't like to be bothered when I work out, but yeah, I do go into a zone. The zone. You know, people ask me if I love working out. I don't know if I do. I think it's something that's like vitamins. I take it because I know it's good for me. Mm-hmm. But
you also know that if you didn't work out, you wouldn't feel good. Like, you have the fundamental understanding that if you move and you're sore, that soreness will go away, and there's a benefit on the other end of it. Whereas
it's like clouds. One day it's going to go away.
Right. And if you don't use it, you're going to have atrophy, and that's going to be painful. And on the other side of that is not a good story.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So I forgot to tell you, I was on the way in the other day and I was listening to the news on the radio, even though I know sometimes I shouldn't, but I do. And they had a guy on there that was talking about incels. Do you know what an incel is?
Talk to me.
Incel is involuntarily celibacy.
So you're not volunteering. You're not volunteering for this. It's an involuntary thing.
Yeah. So this is what they describe them as. Okay.
Okay.
Incels are heterosexual men who blame women in society for their lack of romantic success. A subset of the online misogynistic manosphere that includes pickup artists and men's rights activists. Incels are known for their deep-seated pessimism and profound sense of grievance against women. The incel ideology is rooted in the belief that women have too much power in sexual romantic sphere and ruin incels' lives by rejecting them. Incels are the most violent sector of the manosphere and have perpetrated a range of deadly attacks against women.
Oh, Lord. This sounds like someone that has a serious mental problem. I don't think it's just... I don't know how to... I mean, this is scary. It was written by... I'm just curious who the article was written by. That's crazy.
It was really Invisol.
I'm sorry?
It was really originally coined as Invisol around 1997 by a queer Canadian female student known as Alana. The spelling then shifted to incel by 1999, and the term later rose to prominence in the 2010s.
But this was diagnosed by a scientist or a doctor? Or by just...
So CNN, do you want me to tell you what CNN
says
about it?
These are the questions I'm just curious. I'm like, wow, okay.
Well, CNN says the term incel is everywhere. What was once a niche piece of internet slang now populates international headlines and is a frequent topic in discussions about gender, misogyny, violence, and extremism.
Wow. But that seems like someone's sick.
It describes someone, usually a male, who is frustrated by their lack of sexual experiences. Well, duh, who wouldn't be frustrated with lack of sexual experiences?
Listen, I have a friend. We're going to name him.
No, so you don't have to say his name.
Yeah,
but we can.
You know who he is.
Yeah.
20-something years without having
connection,
an intimacy. And he was very angry.
Involuntarily.
Yeah.
Celibate.
Wow, yeah.
It just happened. It just happens.
Does it happen just with older guys or just...
No, it's younger males now.
And is it because the lack of confidence, maybe? Or, there's hatred towards women.
But it said, okay, they also say it's complex ways, there's complex ways that the term is used. In a 2022 study published by the journal Current Psychiatry Reports and filed in the National Library of Medicine, outlined some ideologies that tie incel communities together.
Oh.
Have you done any research on this?
I just started. I just started. Okay, so they have their own slang words.
Mm-hmm. Who?
The incels.
So these people identify
as incels.
What?
Yeah, it's their own subculture.
They're identifying.
They identify as this, and they have their own subculture.
Oh.
And
maybe they're just asexual.
People
they're attracted to women, but they just can't get them.
So, okay, wait. For incels, the reality presented to them by the red pill is that love and sexual satisfaction are commodities that women deny them, and that women, not men, control the sexual aspects of society, says this guy Steele. Under this assumption, sex and relationships become almost like a game with specific challenges to overcome. When people are described as a red-pilled, it means they have accepted this reality. The metaphor of red pills and blue pills is also used among other groups associated with the alt-right, including QAnon believers and conspiracy theorists. The black pill is similar to the red pill, but describes a more nihilistic view that the reality of red pill is unavoidable or unchangeable. So other examples of slang are chads. Do you know what a chad is?
Absolutely not.
Chad used to refer to attractive masculine men that incels perceive at the top of the male society hierarchy. So you would be a chad.
What is this?
I would be an old Chad. Fuck out of here. I'll be an old childless. The fuck? I can't keep up with this. Wait, so time out. Can this happen to women? Like, can women?
No, women cannot be incels. They have their own name.
Okay.
But,
And I'm not trying to
believe.
insult any.
Of course not. We're just investigating.
We're investigating something new, and we're just.
So okay, let me just finish their slang words, and we'll come back.
Okay, so Chad. Yeah.
Okay, so
Brad Pitt would be a Chad.
Yes. Then there are Stacy's. There's Stacy's. Attractive women atop the female society hierarchy. These women are to be both desired and scorned. As in incel culture, attractive women are the reason for their sexual failures.
Interesting.
Okay. Then there's looks maxing. So the word looks,
Yeah.
maxing, maxxing.
Okay.
Some group of incels are less concerned with perceived social and political reasons for their situation. Instead, they focus whether positively or negatively on their own perceived flaws. Looks maxing is the act of getting as attractive as one can through grooming, style, or exercise. Incel communities share overlap with other online communities where young males meet. And one can see the influence of video game culture in the words like this. Other things can be maxed in this way, like wealth and personality.
Wait, what? So this is a group?
Yeah.
And they're men? Mm-hmm. And they hate women, but they love pussy? Mm-hmm. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
I'm sorry, guys out there, that if you feel this way.
I mean, even let's just start at the bottom. That first, as a human species, we want to feel like we're part of a tribe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? And so, in a moment in time, maybe that's a tribe you identify with. And you have to, like, figure out for yourself. You have to learn for yourself, are you being a victim or are you taking control of your life in this particular area of your life? Because if it's not, look what's happening to me, but what is this teaching me? So if you're not getting intimate, what is that supposed to be teaching you about yourself? Are you intimate with you?
Well, that's a great intimacy. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's true. But
It's just a question.
it's a question. But this is a great conversation to have with.
I think we should have somebody on, like a psychiatrist or psychologist, to kind of like get a professional perspective, because it's just a new concept I just learned about yesterday, and I just thought it would be interesting to have
a great
investigative conversation.
Or if you're a therapist and you're listening out there, you can always reach out to us, and
Yeah,
and
you we can figure out how to call them in, right?
Or give us a comment. Let us know. Can they comment on this? Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right. Well, that's an interesting topic.
Let's set it down.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. It's something new. You learn every day.
Yeah.
Every day you're learning new words, new genders. Not that we're against all this. We support people the way they feel. And the way if you're happy, we're happy.
Yeah, just don't hurt each other. Like, that's the only part of the incel culture that I think concerns people, is the potential for them to go rogue and do some of these gun things.
Agreed.
And so, again, it comes back to, and again, I'm not a therapist. I didn't go to school for therapy. I did do functional medicine health coaching training, but it does not mean I'm a therapist.
Right.
But in my own observation, it's your heart center. It's that intimacy. So it's within.
Yeah.
So God bless.
All right. Moving on.
Moving on. So I found this other article.
About?
I keep throwing these articles to Josh, and he's like, Menna. So this one, I thought it was interesting.
Man's gym behavior exposes insane problems women face while working out. This reeks of misogyny.
A man was caught approaching a woman who was doing like her weights at the gym. And you know, when someone's doing a set, but like he's like standing right above her.
Yeah.
Like clearly trying to intimidate.
Like trying to get into it.
Yeah, like to get into her space. And then when he got in, he wouldn't let her back in. Like, what do you think about how, I mean, you worked at Crunch for many years. I mean, our gym isn't like that. We don't have a gym like this, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I never in more than 30-something years in a gym, I've never seen that happen. I actually think, listen, this could be right. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen because a lot of things happen in gym.
Sure.
But the fact is that when I see a woman in the gym, and maybe this is misogynist, I give her more respect than I would give a guy. Sorry, I mean, if like she's using the machine, I'll say, can I work in with you? If she doesn't like it, I just move on. Even if it was a guy, if he doesn't like it, I move on. But I'm different. So I asked the same girl, a girl this question, a client of mine, Lily. She's 33 years old. I said, you've been to Equinox, you've been to all these gyms. Have you ever been intimidated in a gym by a guy? And she said, no. Josh was there.
She said no, I just told him to fuck off.
Yeah, if that happens. So I don't know. I know it happens. I know it has to happen. It happens to guys too. There's girls that, I hate to say this, but it happened to me. Girls picked me up in the gym. I'm not saying I was against it.
No, I don't think it's about picking up.
Right, no, but stalking.
No, not even stalking. It's about like if I'm at the leg press.
Yeah.
And then you come and stand like right up on me.
Yeah.
The whole time while I'm doing my set.
Yeah, but then that's when you have to be vocal. And I'm not saying it's right, but you have to be vocal and say, hey, I'm doing this, but if you want to work in with me, that'll be okay. Because that's gym etiquette, right?
Right.
And if he doesn't like that, then we have a problem. And that's an asshole. And yes, you're right. I've seen guys stare at girls in the gym, but I've seen it too with girls staring at guys. And I'm not saying it's right. Bullying is one thing. And I tell you, I was talking to Josh about this. Josh, have you ever been intimidated in a gym? Yes, he has. So it goes both ways. Have I ever been intimidated in the gym? Kind of. Like I saw these big guys doing chest. I was like, man, I'm not going to do chest next to those guys. Not because they were hogging the equipment. It's because I was embarrassed with my own growth. Again, I want to go back. I don't say this has happened. I've heard it happen before.
Yeah.
But I don't think it happens all the time. Does it ever happen to you?
God, I don't even remember being in the gym. It's been that long.
But you would remember if it did, is my point. Yeah, and you're not the type of person that says, if you want to work, do you want to work in with me? And no.
No, I just look at you.
Yeah, you're not going to be bullied.
No.
Right. And again, we go back, hopefully this never happens, but I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
I read that article and I thought that was fucked up. And I think if I saw a guy doing it to a girl, I would say something to not only a girl, to a guy too.
Yeah.
If I see that happening if someone's bullying a boy and like he's not doing enough weights or he doesn't know what he's doing, of course I would say something. Yeah. Again, I'm like you, I haven't been to one of these gyms
in a long time.
So I don't really know what's going on in there. In any case. Let's talk about Valentine's Day. Not. Anyway, moving on.
Come on, you have us.
Edibles versus smoking. Really, Valentine's Day, love should be all the time. Right? All the time. That's it. There's a day that everyone try. I mean, come on, man. You've been married for 400 years now. So think about it.
But I still like to get a chocolate.
How about if you get a chocolate tomorrow,
reminder?
And every other day or every Sunday you get flowers.
That would be awesome. So then he would take me out for dinner then on Valentine's Day. Step it up.
Or the day before Valentine's. Fuck, why do you have to cater to that day? It's not you. I'm saying in the whole society. And I'm not listen, all my past relationships, they were all into that, and I catered to it because they...
Okay, so do you want to know why it means something to Yanni and I?
Okay.
There's a story.
All right.
So we met, we hooked up, and then we didn't meet again for like 6 months. And then he called and was like, do you want to go? It was Valentine's Day. I was working at Suite 303. You remember the hair salon?
Sure.
I was at the front desk.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, I'll go out. Like, I'm by myself. And
yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, let's go. So we went out, and he had a car. I'm like, where the fuck did you get a car?
Right.
He's 23 years old, this guy. And he drives me up to the Upper East Side to have dinner at some Italian restaurant.
So it's like your honeymoon. I mean, that's right.
But it was just like one of those things on Valentine's Day.
So
and then we went back to his place, and he took care of Maxie, and like we just had a really good time.
Maxie's your vagina?
No, she was my boxer.
Okay, moving on.
You guys. My sister got married on Valentine's Day.
All right, it's personal to you.
No, but not only that. I look at it as energy, just like New Year's.
It's
momentum.
Right.
But there's momentum, meaning like everyone's consciousness is around love.
It should
in
always be
that day,
about that.
but it's not reality. So on this day it is, right?
But okay. All right, carry on, moving on. That's why I didn't want to talk about it, because you're talking to, Menna about it, and she loves Valentine's Day, and it's no fighting. You win.
That's not
How to handle loneliness.
You're sure
That's a great one.
You're sure you don't want to come back to Valentine's
No,
Day?
how to handle loneliness. Loneliness sounds so depressing.
So I got to tell you, in my experience working with the elderly, loneliness is the number one killer.
Oh, it's too bad.
Well, because you figure
That really
maybe, all your friends are gone. Your kids put you in a home.
Yeah.
No one comes to visit. You get lonely.
Of course.
Like, my mom had my brother living downstairs, but even when I left her, I was like, you must be lonely. Like, who comes up here and talks to you every day?
Yeah.
I mean, of course my family did, but you know what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
how do you handle it? I mean, by meditating, by being around other people? I don't know. I mean, I'm lonely sometimes, but I like it. But that's a different loneliness.
Well,
'Cause
there's
I have
intentional
Yeah,
loneliness
yeah.
where you need. Listen,
But
if
I'm
you
not lonely. I
can't
shouldn't say
spend
that.
time alone by yourself, why would other people want to spend time with you, right?
I mean, this has to be a positive word besides loneliness. I'm not lonely when I'm alone.
Solitude.
Solitude. I'm solitude.
And I think it's tricky because I don't even really think you realize you're lonely until maybe you go to a party or you see somebody at dinner, right? And you're like, oh, wow. I didn't realize I was lonely.
That's actually happened to me where I was like, oh, shit, I'm actually having a good time. Like, wow, okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely happened to me. But
I'm also going to bring something around to socializing because
Sure.
in the science of well-being, studies show that people who have social lives tend to be more happy and have more longevity in their lives because there's this coming of energies together. There's this togetherness. There's joy. There's laughter.
Yeah.
So there is something to say about having a community.
I agree. I'm lucky that I have a bunch of friends and coworkers and friends.
And we're building a community with the Oleon House and even with the podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, we have so much next to talk about.
Oh, no way. Edibles and
Marijuana.
Yeah. So this came from was it a New York Times article? Yeah. So edibles versus smoking. I think it was in terms of like health, and I think that the edibles are fantastic for people who can't smoke. But I think that there's a different bodily sensation between smoking and edibles.
Right.
And there's also something ritualistic about smoking a joint.
I agree.
And sometimes even smoking a pipe because you think back into like tribal times. I mean, isn't that what they were doing when they were sharing a pipe?
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. That's how they did it. That's how they were smoking back then. Even with the tobacco, they were smoking out of a pipe, the peace pipe.
Yeah.
But I agree. I'm like you. I like smoking. I like the ritual. I prefer to roll because for me, it's the ritual of rolling it, how you do it, what's going to happen, and how it's intimate, especially if you're doing it with yourself, but other people, because it becomes,
Communal. And you know what? You often will start to breathe together.
Yeah.
You'll get in sync. I forgot what it's called. I'll look it up for next time. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. We went from 0 to here. No, seriously, you guys, thank you for tuning in and good things coming on if you want to learn more about us.
And great guests. And let us know if you want us to talk about anything that's specific to working out, wellness,
spirituality.
If you want to talk spirituality, we try our best. But just give us a comment or reach out to the Oleon House. All right, over now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. Check us out online at our website, theoleonhouse.com, or Instagram, Facebook, and let us know what you're thinking. This podcast and any related content distributed on behalf of the Oleon House, Menna Olvera, or Carlos Leon is meant for information, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Any information or opinions expressed within are not meant to replace medical advice or meant to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury. You should consult a healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health.